You good to go?
Let's go.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us this month too.
Thank you for having me again.
Well, today we're going to talk about the growth phase. We spoke about the entry level into jobs. So the growth phase, I have a couple of questions.
Please shoot.
Okay, so what are the criterias for employee growth? The reason I ask this is because everybody says, I think I need a raise. I worked for 2 years. I finished one contract. I need a raise. I'm doing my job. I do my job every day. I need a raise. Everyone needs a raise. It's high inflation. Petrol's gone up. School fees are not getting any cheaper. How do we work with this?
Okay. Everybody wants a raise. I want a raise too. Yeah. Now, it's not just now that the inflation has gone up. It's been going up otherwise also. Now, typically most companies worth this oil will actually benchmark the data with surveys. So that tells you one thing is what is the average increase that's going to happen in the market. Now you'll see a William Mercer or you'll see a Towers Watson and many other companies that do these surveys, and you can see that this comes out in the paper. So you know typically what is the average increase. It doesn't mean you will get average. You can even get lower, you can get higher, because there is something called combo ratio, comparative ratio. Depends where you are in the market on that particular job. So there's a huge amount of calculation and comp and ben that happens in the background. Having said that, how can you be different? Now, for you to be able to stand out between two performers, now I'm assuming that you're a performer and so is somebody else. How can you be chosen as the best? Because there is always a forced distribution. So, the company is always forced to choose between 2 or 3 good people who's either top 2 or top 1. Now, they will look at the competencies that they have set up. They will look at a performance. And finally, if all things are equal, they will look at what kind of initiative you've taken. What kind of projects you've raised your hand to. How have you delivered on that project? How have you been a problem solver? These are the things that will make a difference. Because when you stand out, your career is growing. You become a subject matter expert. People want to come and talk to you. Any problem, they want to talk to you because you've gone through it. So these are certain ways that you need to stand out. Then your salary would definitely be higher than the others, because besides the market adjustments that are market median that you are, the company also would look at, is there an adjustment I can make to retain this person? So that's how your salary would go faster. And obviously, if you perform, then there is a career opportunity. As you grow, again, your salary keeps growing. The growth may not happen every year in terms of a career, in terms of promotion, but you'll be on a fast track, which itself is good.
So when you say performers, what kind of roles come under performers? Sales mostly?
You name any department. You can be a performer in your function.
Right.
It can be in HR. So first among equals. It could be in HR, it could be in admin, it could be in sales, marketing, any function, even something like a supply chain, anywhere. You just need to be different to stand out. Because the time you stand out, you're setting yourself to grow into a leadership position.
Okay. So, and all of this has a certain kind of process that you, or the markers that everything has a benchmark that you can compare.
Everything has a benchmark. It's compared to the market. Each position has a benchmark. Because if you take part in surveys, that typically is done. So you actually know what is the salary structure, what kind of amounts are being paid.
What about loyalty? Because a person's been in the company for long, how do they grow?
Loyalty is a concept gone old. Most HR people don't want to lose people. Then there are people who can't get job and say they're loyal. So I think loyalty is a very old concept.
Okay.
Not anymore. In fact, those who don't get jobs and say they're loyal are the ones I'm worried about because they can be detractors.
Right.
And, they are very, very strong opinions which can affect your new generation coming in. So loyalty, don't talk about loyalty anymore. You need to be loyal to yourself. If you think that company is not giving you what you want, then you are free to look out. You must look out. You owe it to yourself. It's your responsibility to ensure that you are happy. If you're not happy in the current company, you must look out. You cannot choose your boss, but you can choose your company. So find a company that you think will do better. Very often, people compare themselves to somebody else. Say, he got a job and he's getting this salary, I should get it. But you tend to think that I'm very good. But the reality is when you go out, you will actually find out how good you are. So you need to test yourself time and again just to see your market worth. There's nothing wrong in that.
But last episode, we did mention that you worked in the company for 34 years. So you still believe in loyalty?
No, I'm doing it because I enjoy my work.
Okay.
You need to enjoy your work. Then you'll keep staying on where you are. I've been lucky to have great managing directors who gave me a free hand at what I wanted to do. I had great bosses who allowed me to grow. So if you enjoy, you will not look at anywhere else. You'll just continue to do what you're doing. So are you enjoying is the question.
Right. How much does training and development work towards employee growth?
You can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Simply said, you will say that I have a training that is based on 70% at work, 30%, 20% maybe is doing projects, and 10% is training. So training is a very small part of it. You may bring in LinkedIn learning and you give it to the employees. How many of them actually sit down and take time to go through it? Because there's immense knowledge, but people sometimes prefer the old way of working where they sit in a classroom and they get. Today, that classroom training has changed into experiential training where they make you do work and actually learn through it. I used to train for the company for certain things which is purely exercise based. Now, after you learn all this or you listen to it, are you really practicing when you come back? Quite often not. There are very few who take it seriously and actually use it. And you can see those are the ones that grow. So training is only bringing you and showing you A, what you lack, B, what you can be better at. How you implement it is entirely up to you. You can always say, I want a trainer who will give me examples of my working or my company. Doesn't really happen all the time because every trainer can't figure out all those ideas. So they give you a general idea. For example, if it's problem solving, they'll give it to you in a different format. What you learn about is how to attack the problem. So you need to go back and think with the new problem, how do I use that learning? That's learning on the fly. How quick are you able to turn it around? So training has its own limitations. You learn at that place, but applying it is entirely up to you.
So are you a yay or a nay for training in your workplace?
I am more for experiential training. Yeah, but some of the training is also motivational. Company or employees want to go out to say, I've gone for a training. So some of it is motivational, which you must support.
But there are other kind of learners also, Mark. So there are some who are experiential learners. There are some who like to listen to it. Some who like to visual learn.
That's why I said, if you're listening or visually, are you implementing it? Then yes.
As long as the individual
the employee is able to imbibe, bring that back into the workplace and utilize it. But that's why I said very few of them do it. Everybody comes, listens, and they forget. So that's why if you notice, it is 70% on the job, 20% is project based, and only 10% is the actual training that happens. That's how most companies structure their training.
Many years ago, there was a gentleman who came and spoke to me and he said, so how are you? Are you all good? Are you having fun? Do you like it in this place? And I said, yes to everything because I did really mean that. And he's like, see, I believe, and he was in HR, by the way. And he said, I believe that one has to be concerned about the individual. So if I do this, will you ever ask for a raise? I said, of course, yes, because your words are going to be, yes, beneficial to a certain extent, but they're not going to pay my bills.
Yeah.
So if an individual says, like say, for example, if they do their own personal training or maybe do masters or do any other course,
yes.
How much of support do you think companies can give?
I think companies should support. We do that. But we say that that course that you're planning to do should have a benefit to the company. It should be in the line that you are currently working in because you need to provide something back to the company. So financially, the companies, I know many companies support. Some of them support on whenever the payments are due. Some of them support after the completion, which I am more towards saying after the completion. Because in today's day and age, You want something out of the employee, you want to give him something. So you tell him, yes, after you complete, I will pay it. Because those 2 or 3 years, he's actually contributing to you. So there's no harm in supporting that. But get it cleared in advance, because the person needs to know what's there for him.
Okay.
I'm not saying career, I'm just talking about the compensation for the education. Now, I know many employees who actually do it themselves and don't even ask for compensation, because in their mind, they don't want to be indebted. But that's a choice you make.
Right. You just said, see, everybody should look out for themselves as individuals, because in the end, they owe it to themselves.
Absolutely.
So if someone does this and the company does support and the person wants to leave, isn't that a loss?
It would be a loss. Now, there are companies that say that, okay, if you leave me within 3 years or 4 years, I will recover part of that cost.
Okay.
So if you're open to that idea, then everything is fine. It's fair. You've been told in advance, you make the decision. Do you want the money? I would say take the money.
Right.
After you still save some part of it. So what's the harm? It's both ways. Again, loyalty is only to yourself. It's good to be loyal to a company in terms of being honest. But if you're not going to grow, then you must look out, because you will be a detractor, and that's not good for the company, and that's not good for you either. You should be happy at what you're doing.
How do the support staff grow, Mark? And do you think companies are leaning towards supporting the ones that bring the revenue?
No. Support staff also are being looked at as good. At least I'm talking from my experience in the companies I worked. Similarly, I know of in a company where when the support staff have moved to a sales and marketing function and grown. So there is a possibility, based on the company you are, to grow within the company. There is also a very high possibility of you growing in the same function you are. But all you need to do is stand out, be a performer, be a subject matter expert, be someone who people can come and talk to you to solve problems of the work. I'm not talking personal. That's a very different aspect. But on the job, you should be seen as one who can actually get the job done. So you will grow. But there are some jobs where you will grow only to a certain level. And it's understandable, because A, you may not have the skills or the education to do more than that. For example, let us say there was a warehouse helper. Now you can grow maybe a level or two above. Maybe from a warehouse helper, you may become a team in charge. More than that would be difficult for you to grow, because the job requirements are very different after that. So you will grow up to a certain level. There are certain ceilings. But if you're a person who's educated, I don't see any reason why you can't grow higher than that. You will grow. You can. And like I said, my experience has shown me people have grown to very senior levels in the company, all because they took the initiative to learn. They went through the grind. It took them time, but they grew.
Let's talk about communication. In a multicultural company, how does one maintain the balance while maintaining international standards and also respecting culture?
With so many cultures that you have, what you say to one person can mean something to someone else. I actually seen it happen. Somebody threw a paper. It's culturally not accepted in some places, or you say something in a certain way, it's not accepted. You need to treat everybody humanly. You need to think that if this was done to me, how would I react? So when you talk assuming that the person may be hurt. So when you speak, be very calm and explain it clearly, because some nationalities also have the habit of talking fast, which as a result of it, some nationalities don't understand English, or their English level of understanding is a little lower. So when you talk fast, it's in and out. They've not picked it up. So they don't understand what you're saying. So take your time to explain. 2, don't get into any discussions of religion, likes, dislikes, politics. Each one has a very, very personal opinion in it. And this can create barriers for you. To avoid discussions. Sports, everybody likes to talk, and that is taken as fun. It's fine to have an opinion on sports. It's not a very personal issue. Then when you're working, how will you be able to help a person of another culture? Because when you start interacting with them and helping them out, they understand that you are not any different from them. Be a problem solver. I mean, these are very simple things to do. Just understand that you are different, they are different. How would you feel if things were done differently to you?
interdepartmental communication. In some companies, one department, when they ask the other for something, it seems like they are asking for a personal favor, but sometimes the silos or the lack of communication or effective communication, I would say, would be not to the best interest of the company.
Silos exist. Honestly, they exist. So as when you say this is a department, that itself is a silo. So silos exist. If somebody says they don't exist, don't believe them. The difficulty or the problem is that when we are in a department, we owe our loyalty to the department first and then the company. That's a reality. It's not going to change. You can't break that very easily. But what you can do is help employees intermingle or get to know one another better. Because any job which has relations based, things work faster. If you know somebody you become a good friend from another department, your work will become faster. He will tell you ways out from difficult situations, even though he's the one who's the one stopping it. He'll tell you how to get around to get it approved. So as a company, we do a lot of interdepartment play activities, which happens very often. And this is purely the reason to get to know your colleague. So you're put in teams in which you work with or you do activities. So automatically you tend to build that friendship. Now we can't break it entirely, but we can help you find some person there and find the balance for yourself. You cannot get rid of silos. It's very easy to say, but reality is not happening.
And what about clash of egos?
Oh, plenty of those. As HR, then you need to step in because you need to keep emotions out, but you know it will happen. And an ego is something that it's a personal issue. You can't really get it out, but you can only be that, what should I say, judge, decider about how they should look at the same issue. But you need to talk to them separately. If there are two people, talk to them separately and find out the real problem. Help them find why they got upset. Because the moment they are able to understand where they went wrong, you're able to calm the problem down. And that's part of the HR where we come in, helping see where the real problem is.
And type of leaders?
You have many types. You have those who are attention seekers, those who are great mentors and good leadership qualities. World's made of all of them. Difficult to say that you'll always get a perfect boss. You'll always find, like I said, you can choose the company, you cannot choose your boss. Yeah, so you will have to live with the person as long as he's your boss. If you make
Not necessarily.
As long as he's there, or you make a choice, you are not going to go anywhere. So as long as you're in the same company working with him, or unless he's transferred to another department, he's going to be your boss. So there is something called adjust and adapt. You need to find the balance. There are some of them who are nitpickers. No matter what you do, they will find a fault. But that's their style. You can't change that. That's the way they've been trained. You don't want to be with them, be like them. So make sure that you don't learn the bad habits. I was told by one of my boss, learn my good habits, don't learn my bad habits. Don't become like me. Be yourself, but be different. So you need to see what is it that is upsetting you. Learn from that leadership that if you had a subordinate, try to be different. There are some who learn exactly what their bosses taught them, and that is bad. Find out how would you feel if you're being treated this way. How would somebody else feel? Be a different person. Now you have those who are assertive. Now, being assertive is speaking your mind. You may not get your view. Some of the bosses are assertive, but the staff below think he's not good enough. But the reality, he knows that he can do only so much or she can do only so much. I can speak my mind. I can give you my opinion. But once a decision is made, they push it. So that's another kind of leader you'll have. And then those that stand out, the aggressive ones, tantrums, getting angry. Is it a good boss or not? I'm not here to judge that part. I'm just giving you three different types of people I've seen. And then those who don't understand because of a language issue, the leadership gets confused. Because what they communicate, what they understand, and what they pass down to you is totally different from what is actually been told. So those are confused leaderships, and they keep changing their opinion very often. They will tell you something, and once you do it, they will tell you no, this is it. These are the kind of people you're going to be working with, and you'll have to live with it. There is no way to change that. It's only that you need to adjust, adapt, and work with it.
Thank you so much for your time, Mark. I hope to see you next month where we discuss even further. So it's not the we finished the entry, we finished the growth, and we're going to go to the management phase.
Thank you very much, Galton, for having me.